Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in my garage. And I wanted to make an addendum video to the video that I made yesterday regarding the first impressions of the B&T APR308S. And I had mentioned in that video that I took this to the range and I wanted to share my thoughts and opinions about it, just what I experienced before actually making the range report that's going to go up on the main channel, the one that's more professionally made. Just, hey, I shot this. This is what I experienced. And based off of some people's reactions and somebody that contacted me, I realized that I might not have been as, I don't say as clear, but as positive about this rifle as I really should have been. I focused more on an aspect of what I experienced and not really going into much detail. And I think people misinterpreted what I said because I mentioned in yesterday's video that for me, this rifle was not as accurate as other rifles. I had mentioned that I had shot like a couple of LMTs, a Knight's Armament, probably a Ruger precision rifle, a little bit better than this in the accuracy department. But I also said that hands down, this is the quietest 308 I've ever shot. It's one of the softest shooting 308s I've ever shot. The performance of this gun, the build of this gun is just off the chart. I mean, the bolt, the way it's machined, it just moves like glass or like it runs on ball bearings. It's just a smooth action. It's just an outstanding firearm. And for me, I put a group at 100 yards about this, okay? Now, I know that with a couple of other guns I've shot, I've probably gotten it down to about here, and I know that other professional shooters will do better. And this gun is designed to go out to 500 yards and beyond, okay? But I'm not that type of a shooter. I'm not a professional shooter, and I try to make sure everybody knows this, that I create content from the perspective of an average gun guy for average gun people. I kind of like to say that because I am so blessed to get behind the trigger of these firearms that many people never will, that I want to give that experience and that knowledge to people that are like me. I'm not in the gun world in the fact that I, don't work at a gun shop. I don't work for a manufacturer. I don't do anything. I'm literally just a guy. That's all that I am. I'm in the music world for my day job. I'm a teacher. That's what I do. So I try to create content for just people like me that love firearms and would like to have somebody on YouTube that talks about guns from a perspective that they can relate to. Like when it comes to Garand Thumb. I mean, how many of us can relate to Garand Thumb? Not many of us. Or let's talk about Paul Harrell, for example, that just recently passed away. He's a legend, but let's just be honest. Paul Harrell he has so much experience from the military to his professional shooting career to all the things that he did that we could learn so much from him. But on the other hand, I mean, he's up here and we're down here, okay? And sometimes I don't feel like we have many content creators for average gun people to relate to. I want to be that for people. I'm not looking to replace or be anybody else or to be compared to any other YouTubers out there. I just want to be my own thing, and I think that my audience are people like me. That's who my target audience is, and that might be a small audience, and that's okay. I'm not doing this to get big or any of that. And so when I make comments off the cuff, like saying, okay, I wasn't as accurate with this, sometimes I think people misinterpret that as me saying the gun isn't as accurate as it should be, or there's not other variables at play. And I know that when it comes to me making content, there are people in the gun world that work for manufacturers that might get concerned when I make a statement just because I am visible to a lot of people to some degree, even though my channel is so small. And I'm literally a nobody. I'm a nobody. I don't claim to be the greatest at anything, okay? And I guess this is kind of a long way of getting around to what I wanted to say, which is some people were talking about this gun is designed to go out to 500 yards and beyond. And absolutely. And probably in the hands of somebody that does that type of shooting all the time, this gun is going to be a tack driver. I have zero doubts in that. And I don't claim to be a great shooter. I'm just an average gun guy. That's it. And I'm learning just like all of you. And so there are a number of variables that could have caused my group to be like this and not like this. We have everything from, of course, the firearm itself. We have the scope. We have user error, which could be me. Or it could be things like the trigger or whatever, but I didn't have any problems with that. So most likely it's the firearm, the scope, or me. And my experience is, while I said it's not as accurate, not as accurate as other guns, I in no way meant to say that it is bad or inaccurate overall, because one of the people that I've spoken with in the past at B&T contacted me, and they were like, okay, we saw your video on your channel, which, by the way, is I guess they watched the Texas Gun Vault too, because this is just my behind the scenes channel. It's all it is. It's my casual behind the scenes channel where I just talk about, my first impressions of guns, upcoming projects for the main channel, and so forth. And I kind of felt like they might be a little bit concerned that I'm going to say something negative about this rifle. And I tried to explain to them that in the email, which was a great correspondence, that the gun is accurate. It's probably one of those things. Me, this, or the scope, most likely me. Okay. And I was not going to say anything necessarily negative about the gun, because I think the build is amazing. The trigger is great. The options are amazing. This suppressor is unbelievable. I mean, this is the quietest 308 rifle I have ever shot or ever seen. Aesthetically, this thing is gorgeous. The action runs smoothly. I just, for whatever reason, for whatever variable, didn't shoot it as well as other rifles. But it's not terrible. And while I wouldn't put it in the top 3 or the top 5 in terms of accuracy I've ever reviewed, I would definitely put it in the top 3 when it comes to performance and the shooting experience. And so I just wanted to say that, because I know some people also in the comment section were saying, and I even got some mean comments that I had to delete, but don't worry, I saved them for the mean comments of the week, pointing out it's definitely me, I'm an idiot, and so forth, and whatever. But I just wanted to kind of clarify that I might have been a little bit down about the grouping yesterday, only because I've been shooting so well as of late. And when I've been used to kind of shooting groups about this big at 100 yards, which for me is good, okay? For me is good. That might be terrible for you, but for me as the average gun guy, is pretty good. When the group on this opened up to here, I was a little bit disappointed. Could have been me, okay? Could have been the scope. Could have been a lot of things. Could have been a lot of things. The only thing that I could tell you that was consistent is at 25 yards, the group was pretty good. Of course, I always start at 25 yards because I don't know if these scopes are zeroed. And so if I go out to 100 yards and I'm trying to put rounds on paper and I'm missing the target, I have no idea if I'm high, to the right, to the left. I don't know. So I started close in and I moved the target out just to make sure I'm on paper. And so 25 was fine. 50, obviously the bullets were impacting really, really high. So I had to adjust the scope down, got a good group. At 75 yards is when I began to see a pattern. And that pattern is I would get a group about this big, and then I would have 1 or 2 shots like way out of the group, okay? Like way out of the group, and then I have the rest of the group together. And that's why I was saying I was having these flyers, okay, and why the gun wasn't accurate. But if there's only 2 shots, it might be me pulling the trigger wrong or anticipating the shot a little bit. It could be the ammunition as well, but I was using Hornady 168 grain match ammo, which is pretty darn consistent. And when I put this on the chronograph, the velocities were a little bit slower than I was expecting, but they were very, very, very consistent. And that's a very high quality manufactured ammunition I was using. So was it me? Was it the scope? I wasn't going to talk about that, but in no way was I going to impugn the rifle and say, oh, it's terrible, because it was not like a shotgun pattern. Good group, one or two flyers. And then when I go out to 100 yards, I have a group about, once again, about this big, and then I have like one or two flyers that just are way out of the group. I don't know why that is, but it was still a good rifle for me personally. I know the reputation of B&T, and I know the reputation of the caliber and what B&T is trying to go for. And as I said, in no way was I saying this was going to be a bad experience, because overall it's very positive. And I just wanted to say that because I got a lot of comments in yesterday on the video of people trying to say, what did you mean by this? Or maybe it could be this or that. And then I kind of watched the video again, and I think I overstated the issue when it was just me being a little bit down on my shooting because I've just been shooting so well lately on various other firearms. I'm still going to do the range report on this. I'm going to show you the results. I'll just give the caveat, as always, that I'm just an average gun guy trying to share my experiences with these amazing firearms to other average gun people. And that's it. I'm not trying to impress anybody with trick shots. I'm not in any way saying I am a definitive authority on anything or that I know more than anybody. I don't claim that. I don't. So I just kind of wanted to clear the air there. Not that it was anything bad that anybody said to me, but B&T reached out to me and was very concerned. They're like, we would like this rifle to come back to us because we want to make sure there's not a defect in it. I mean, I'll let D know, who's the proper owner of this. Luckily, he's worked with me when it comes to figuring out all of the paperwork to make this possible, and I'm very appreciative of that. But I'll let him know that B&T would like that, and they would pay for shipping one way or the other, so they could take a look at it and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be nothing wrong with it. Probably if you put this in the hands of somebody that just does long-range shooting all the time, it's probably going to be a great rifle, okay? And maybe this rifle is really set up for a different grain. Why I was getting those flyers could be because I was doing 168. Maybe this thing likes 155. Maybe it likes heavier stuff. I don't really know what it's truly designed for. I was just assuming the Hornady Match 168 was going to work, and it did. I had no problems with it. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of clear the air, and I just wanted to let people that might be watching the channel in the gun world, in the gun industry, that in no way was I saying this was bad or that I was going to give it a bad review, because honestly, I really, really love this rifle, and I can't wait to review the one in 8.5. Blackout. But as I said, the action was smooth. Aesthetically, it's amazing. The suppression is honestly the best I've ever seen. Best I've ever heard and ever seen. Just the build is amazing. The ergonomics are great. It's so soft shooting. So, I mean, literally, it was like pegging the scale on the cream of the crop on so many things, with the exception of just the accuracy. But that could be me, because not every gun is set up for everybody else. I have reviewed guns that people have said for them were very inaccurate, but for me were extremely accurate, and then vice versa. And I have come to believe, after shooting and reviewing so many guns, that it's sometimes it's not the gun and it's not the shooter, it's the collaboration of the two. Because when you get behind the trigger of a rifle or a trigger of a handgun, you are essentially becoming one. You're melding into one being for the purpose of, projecting or expelling a projectile by the force of expanding gas down range. That is your job, and you have to work together. And so sometimes, depending on your hand size, your body shape, your height, what you're accustomed to, A gun that works great for 95% of the population might not work well for you, and vice versa. And that's just the way it is sometimes. And that's why when I don't shoot something well, or I do shoot something well, I say, hey, I have big hands. I get these big old fat fingers. You might have narrow fingers, and that might change the way the grip works for you. I might say that, hey, when it comes to aspects of things like my rheumatoid arthritis that I have, that's why I like vertical foregrips, or I like the guns balanced a certain way, because they don't hurt my wrists, where that might not bother you. But I share all that information. So anyway, as I said, I just kind of wanted to clear the air on that, because I think people thought I was being down on this rifle, and in no way was I doing that. Accuracy, it's probably in the top 10, but probably in the low 10s. Could be me. But when it comes to pretty much everything else, it's in the top 1, 2, or 3 of all the rifles I've ever reviewed. So anyway, just wanted to say that and kind of clear the air, only because B&T had reached out to me and wanted to know more about this. And I just wanted to let you guys know and let B&T know, if they're watching this video, I'm a nobody. I'm just an average gun guy. I'm not an expert shooter. I'm not a professional shooter. I'm not a competition shooter. I've never been in the military. I'm not in law enforcement. I'm just an average gun guy that loves the mechanics of guns, loves the aesthetics of guns, loves just all that about guns. And just getting behind the trigger of one of these is just a cool experience, and I just want to share that with other people. And I don't want anybody to ever think that I have some type of arrogance or ego about me when it comes to my shooting ability. I don't, okay? Sometimes if I shoot a gun, depending on what it is, and I just get rounds on paper, I mean, we're golden. You know, I'm like, woohoo. And for a lot of other people, because of what they expect based off of other content creators, if it's not like that, oh, you must be a bad shot. And sometimes I don't think that people realize that what you see on YouTube from a lot of content creators is not realistic. It's not what most people do. I mean, for example, when I go to the range and there are other people there while I'm filming, I'll take a moment and watch them shoot. I'll look at their groups. I'll see what they're shooting. And many times it's average. You know, even where I go, I'm a VIP member of the Frisco Gun Club, and the place where I shoot, it's just for VIP members, people that pay a steep monthly fee. And so these are people that are really into guns, like really into guns. And some of them shoot a little bit better than I do. Some of them don't. And I've realized that what you see on YouTube is an unrealistic expectation. So if all you do is watch, 22 Plinkster, you can't have the expectation that everybody on YouTube should shoot like him and be able to cut a card with a 22, a 22 long rifle projectile. You can't expect everybody to be as knowledgeable as Paul Harrell. You can't expect everybody to be able to hit a gong at 240 yards like Hickok 45. Not everybody can do that, and just because somebody doesn't do that or can't do that doesn't mean that they're bad. Sometimes it's good just to see average people do things, I think I've used this analogy before, and I know it's kind of a crude analogy, but one of the things that people would say about, how can I say this lightly? Let's just say adult videos. You've heard psychologists say, if you hear about people talk about that, they go, that's not real. That's not a real interaction between two people or more people or whatever. And it's for the camera. And it relates to firearms because what you see Grand Thumb do, or you see Military Arms Channel do, or you see Hickok 45 do, or you see Robski of the AK-47 Operators Union do, or whatever it is, that's also not real. it's designed and filmed in a way for mass consumption for entertainment. And you can have things that are selectively edited, or you can just have people that are focused on that are just naturally good at that one skill or that one type of shooting. And it should not pervert your expectations of what you should be able to do or what other people should be able to do. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at when it comes to my review of this. So for me personally, getting 10 rounds on target at 100 yards, about this big, okay? While it's not my best, it's okay. It was not bad. It's not me saying, oh, the rifle is inherently inaccurate. It's none of that, okay? A lot of variables at play: the gun, the suppressor, the scope, the trigger, me, the ammo, all that is at play, okay? But for me, I'm okay with that. I wish it was like this, but it was like this, okay? So there you go. I just wanted to explain myself, and I appreciate you guys making it to the end of the video today. As I said, I just had to do a little addendum, so this is going to be a little bit rambly, and I'm sorry. So if you watch to the end of this video, what can the word of the day be? The word of the day is going to be, I'm going to make it tough on you. I'm going to make it tough on you. The word of the day is addendum. Oh my gosh, how in the world are you going to use that in a sentence? Addendum. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and I will be working on the range report, or the garage portion of the range report, on this tomorrow. I have edited the range footage. I'm pretty happy with it. And I just got to create the bullet point script and then come out here and film the video and edit it. And then I'll set it for release. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I'm ahead on videos right now. I am setting videos for next May. I'm almost at the end of May of 2025. So right now it is like September the 13th. So that's how many videos, which is like 2 or 3 a week, all the way out to the end of May right now. So this video will come out in the end of May or early June of next year. That's how far ahead I am on content. So anyway, so let me know what you think in the comment section below. Use the word of the day. I know that you're a true vault dweller. So, as always, thanks for watching.